You crawl out of your cell and boom. The first thing that hits you is not the sun, but the cacophony of pheromones mixed with an acidic, acrid smell. Welcome to the fire ant colony, the infamous Solenopsis invicta, where your life is ruled by sacrifice, your weapon is pain, and your greatest threat is not the predator but civil war within. You are a worker. You are a female, like everyone else, but with the biological function of a sterile slave. You emerge into a world of controlled chaos, as this is not a kingdom of a single queen. It is a polygynous colony, an anarchy of multiple queens who share the royal chamber, each of them a reproductive time bomb. You're thinking, wow, that's great. More bosses mean less work for each one, right? Wrong. Multiple queens mean multiple bloodlines and therefore constant competition for power, resources, and loyalty. The air you breathe in the tunnels is saturated with chemical hatred between the royal families. Its existence is the antithesis of individuality. You are an extension of the collective reproductive desire of the queens. Your life is defined by the queen, or in this case by the queens. Although the status of each of them is slightly suppressed by the presence of the others, they retain a monopoly on reproduction. You and your millions of sisters, the disposable beings, exist only to build, hunt, and fight to the death for the greater good, or for the sake of the more aggressive lineage that dominates the moment. Their life instinct is programmed to be less than the anthill preservation instinct. Its maturation is rapid. After just a few days in the nursery, you're thrown into the work galleries. The service is divided ruthlessly by size and age, and there is no time off. His first mission, the architecture of the empire. You spend the first few weeks of your working life as a builder, chewing and carrying soil particles to build the mounds of earth above the surface. These aren't just sandcastles. They are complex thermal engineering structures. The mound serves as a solar fan, absorbing the heat of the day to keep the pup chambers at the optimal temperature, and allowing the colony to rise or fall to regulate humidity and temperature. If the mound is damaged by rain or by an animal, you and your sisters must rush to repair it in minutes, or the higher chambers will be flooded, and the larvae will die. You work under a constant pressure from nature and the demands of royalty. Your body is a pain machine and a building tool. You don't have the simple stinger of a bee. You are equipped with a stinger that injects a lipophilic alkaloid poison, pyrethaloxin. It is a corrosive, oily poison that causes an extreme burning sensation, hence the name fire ant, and forms white pustules. Your weapon is pure pain, and you must use it in the service of the queens. The routine of digging in the internal tunnels is claustrophobic and endless. The anthill can have thousands of chambers and kilometers of tunnels that need constant maintenance. You are a brick in the wall of an empire that is not even entirely yours. After the construction job, you are thrown into the castra of the foragers. Your job is to find and kill. You don't just hunt for nutrition. You hunt for protein for the larvae, the future tyrants of the colony. Hunting is always a risky and mass enterprise. You are forced to dominate prey much larger than you, crickets, grasshoppers, and even small vertebrates, lizards, young rodents, that fall in the way. The tactic is always the same, mass attack without negotiation. You and your hundreds of sisters cover the victim. The signal is given by an attacking pheromone, and all of you simultaneously inject industrial amounts of corrosive poison. The victim, paralyzed and in agony, is slowly dismantled. Fire ants are famous for being the slowest and most corrosive death on the forest floor. The sacrifice of some always guarantees the meal of all, especially the queen's offspring. And if the prey is a large insect, such as a beetle, you have to dismember it and carry it in parts through tight tunnels. The effort is colossal, and any fire ant that shows weakness or slowness will be corrected with a bite or a push from the more efficient sisters. Solidarity in the fire ant only exists in attack. In charge, it is brutal meritocracy. The real stress in your life comes from polygyny. Queens produce offspring that have distinct chemical markers. You, a worker, are genetically programmed to recognize and hate the larvae of queens of other ant species, and crucially, the larvae of rival queens within their own nest. Chaos is the natural state. The balance of power between the queens is delicate, underpinned by pheromones of mutual suppression and threats. If a rival queen is a little more successful, or if her pheromones become too strong, the dominant power coalition unleashes hell. The signal is given. You and your sisters loyal to the ruling faction are chemically directed to invade the rival queen's hatchling chamber and slaughter her eggs and larvae. You become an infanticidal soldier, destroying the future of your own species in the name of the stability or tyranny of the clan. The fire ants' war is not for territory, it is for genetic monopoly, and it takes place in the nursery. What if you, the worker, are seen taking too much care of the larvae of the wrong faction? Or if you hesitate to join the massacre? The aggression is directed at you. You may be bitten, dragged away, or marked with warning pheromones, becoming a social outcast. Their loyalty is tested by the minute, and the price of hesitation is death. Their chemical anxiety is constant. Who is in power today? Which queen should I honor with my work so as not to be attacked by my own sisters? When you reach old age, your body begins to wear out. Their jaws are no longer as strong for digging, and their legs are not as fast for hunting. The colony, ruthless in its efficiency, assigns you to the castra of the elders, the role of border defense and sacrifice. You are the disposable soldier. His life is now worth a single calorie spent on hunting. The final test comes with the rain. If there is a flood, a common and catastrophic event for the colonies, the survival of the queen and the larvae is the only priority. Sacrifice becomes mandatory. You and hundreds of your older sisters are forced to form a living raft. The panic is immediate, but the colony's preservation instinct overrides. You cling to your sisters with your claws, and the group coalesces into a floating, hydrophobic mass of bodies. The larvae and queens are placed in the dry center. You are part of the outer layer. Most of the ants in the outer layer of the raft, including you, die drowned, crushed by pressure, or frozen by water, but the queen and her cubs survive. Their sacrifice is obligatory, anonymous, and the ultimate fate of every worker who has lived too long to be useful. You become the sacrificial shield that ensures the perpetuation of tyranny. Even if you are female and worker, the colony also has males, the consorts. Their life is even more pathetic and shorter. They are the drones, the disposable breeders. They are born with only one purpose, the bridal flight. They are winged, unlike you, and look more like small wasps. They have no jaws to dig, no stinger to fight, and their IQ is minimal. The colony tolerates them until they are large enough to fly. Once in the air, they mate with a young virgin queen. After the act, its biological usefulness ends instantly. They die in a matter of hours, alone in the air, their tiny bodies falling to earth. The male fire ant is perhaps the most useless and purposeless being in the entire colony. Your fate, worker, is only an extension of its uselessness. Sterile slavery. Her life was spent serving chemical dictators who denied her right to reproduce and forced her to a sacrificial death. If you survive the snake attack, the flood, and the attacks of the rival sisters, your fate will be to die anonymously. If the colony is attacked by a rival or a foot-washing ant, you and your active sisters fight in what appears to be a rain of sulfuric acid. His weapon, the paratoloxin, is thrown into a chaotic battle. You die fighting a sister from another clan, or you are dismembered by a predator. There is no retirement. There is no rest. The next time you see an anthill on the ground, remember, it's not a house, it's a biological warfare machine fueled by the sacrifice of millions of sterile beings whose only pleasure is a brief but powerful acid burn on the enemy's body. It sucks to be born a fire ant, but at least its pain, its poison, and its ultimate sacrifice will be remembered by others.